Welcome to Architect of Tomorrow. We don't just write code here, we design the systems that run the world.
Today, we're talking about one of the biggest leaps you can make in your software career, that journey from developer to architect. And look, this is way more than just a new job title. It's about completely rewiring how you think. Shifting from how do I fix this bug today to how will this system work 5 years from now. So let's break down how that transformation actually happens.
It usually all kicks off with a single question, something just like this. Imagine you're in a code review, you're focused on your pull request, and someone asks you this. It just stops you in your tracks, right? It forces you to think beyond the immediate task and consider time, the fourth dimension of software. That's it. That's the spark. That's the very beginning of architectural thinking.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start by comparing the two mindsets. Then we'll dive into the developer's world, the comfort zone. We'll see how that 5-year question really is the catalyst for change. Then we'll get practical and map out how to build your foundation, uncover what an architect really does all day, and finally, take a look at where this role is headed in the future. Okay, so what is the real difference here? At the end of the day, it all boils down to your main focus. Are you building to solve the problems in this week's sprint? Are you designing a system that can handle the company's problems for the next 5 years?
This slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the developer. You're laser focused on getting things working right now. You're solving today's puzzle, thinking implementation first. But the architect? They're playing a different game. They're optimizing for change itself, designing systems that are meant to evolve. They have to think architecture first, because they know that every line of code written today is a foundation or a roadblock for tomorrow.
To really get this shift, let's just ground ourselves in the world of a developer for a second. It's a world that makes sense. It's concrete. You see your results, and you get that satisfaction of moving things to done. And hey, it's a fantastic place to be. I mean, look at this process. It's clean, it's efficient, and it's perfect for solving problems one at a time. You get the ticket, you build the thing, you test the thing, you ship it. Awesome. But what happens when all those individual features start to connect and interact in unexpected ways? That's when you realize you need a bigger map. That's where the architect's mindset becomes absolutely essential.
And that brings us right back to the catalyst, that moment, that psychological milestone, when you stop just asking how to build something and you start asking why it needs to be built a certain way to survive the test of time.
This whole idea has a name: temporal thinking. Honestly, this is the secret sauce that separates great programming from true architecture. And why does it matter so much? Well, because a system that can't change and evolve is, for all intents and purposes, already dead. It's just a matter of time. Architects aren't just designing software, they're designing for change itself.
So this all sounds great, but how do you actually start doing it? It's not like you flip a switch. It's a journey, and it means taking very deliberate steps to build up that experience and change your perspective. Let's walk through a pretty practical way to get there.
All right, here's a solid 4-step path that really works. First, you've got to aim for those intermediate roles, like a tech lead. This is a huge milestone because it's where you start making small-scale architectural decisions. Second, and this is huge, find a mentor. Seriously, you can't put a price on learning from someone else's experience and mistakes. Third, get certified. Things like the AWS Solution Architect Cert aren't just a piece of paper. They force you to think systematically and they validate that thinking. And finally, build your network. Go to meetups, join online communities. The ideas and patterns you'll pick up from your peers are invaluable.
Now we get to maybe the toughest part of the whole journey, the identity shift. Because once you step into an architect role, you have to accept a hard truth. Your keyboard is no longer your most important tool.
Just take a look at this. This chart shows you where an architect's time really goes. And what's at the top? Brainstorming, explaining how things work, understanding the core business problem. It's all about communication, collaboration, and strategy. Your value is no longer measured in lines of code. It's measured in the clarity of your vision and your ability to get everyone else to see it too.
So, yeah, your day-to-day responsibilities, they shift big time. You're not just in your IDE anymore. You're the person who connects the business needs to the technical reality. You're the one zooming out, looking at the entire system, the data models, the performance, the security, and most importantly, where it's all going next. And this quote, this just nails the final and maybe the hardest mental shift. As a developer, you live in a world of true and false, of tests that either pass or fail. It's comforting, right? But as an architect, you live in a world of gray, a world of trade-offs. There's almost never a single right answer. There's just a series of compromises that you have to understand, justify, and, defend. You basically trade certainty for influence.
And just when you think you've mastered the role, guess what? The blueprint changes. This job never, ever stands still.
I mean, look at what's happening with things like generative AI. It's completely changing the game. We're talking about AI that could automate project planning or create digital twins, perfect virtual copies of your system, so you can test massive changes before a single line of code goes to production. This isn't sci-fi anymore. This is what's coming next.
So if AI is going to handle more and more of the heavy technical lifting, what's left? What makes a great architect irreplaceable? It's the human stuff. Your ability to communicate a complex idea simply, your creativity in solving a thorny business problem, your strategic vision. Those are the skills that will define the great architects of tomorrow. So as you sit down to work on your next ticket, your next project, whatever it is, ask yourself that question. Because the answer won't just determine the code you write. It'll determine the career you build,